from Subparplanning. I am going to do a quick little DIY of this folder type that I have, and that way if you're interested, I know a couple people want to know how I made this. So I'm going to show you. So basically this is the finished product of what I made. It's 2 different pieces of paper. This is not double-sided. So what I did was I took, this is from Michaels, and this is part of their little traveler's notebook, their new set. And this is a 3-paged, you flip it open, there was another piece here, and it had like pockets. So I just cut it down because I didn't want to do the 3-page because it just seemed like too much work. So what I did was I cut it down, and then I took the glue off of it, and I put tape over to protect it because it's still sticky. And I used this as my template for this. So the only thing that I would suggest is when you pick your paper out to make your thing, make sure that you don't care what direction this goes in, because once you cut the shape out and you make your pockets, this is going to be upside down and this won't. So you have to be okay with that, or you have to pick paper that will allow you, that doesn't really have any sort of pattern or upside and downside kind of thing. So this didn't really, so that when I flipped it over, it kind of looks the same. And then these pockets in this paper, it doesn't matter because I can have it facing up. So that's where you want to do your differences. So anyways, there's that. I'll just put that there. So what you want to do is you want to grab some paper. Generally speaking, you're going to want to use 12 by 12 scrap pad. 12 by 12 paper, because it's going to be a lot easier to fit as opposed to 8 by 10. You might be able to do 8 by 10, but I think it'll just barely make it. So I have 2 pads of paper that I'm going to use. One's the Pink Passport from Hobby Lobby. The other one is Ooh La La from Michaels. And so I thought this will be the outside cover because it's a thicker, heavier duty stuff. And then this will be the inside because it's a little more delicate and it's not as, it doesn't need to be as sturdy. So all I have to do now is I just have to pick my cardstock cover. So this is what I picked. It should be good. Let me get that out of the way. So what I do is I flip it over because I don't want to do any of this on the actual print. And as you can see, it doesn't really matter what direction it goes in. It looks pretty much, it's fine either way. That's why this is kind of something that you probably want to use more with, you'd want to use more as a, something without writing and stuff like that. So all I did was I just flipped this open and I just lined up my edges. So I lined it up here. I lined it up at the bottom because that's basically the outside, and I just use the straight edges of the pad because it's just easier. And then you're going to take some sort of a writing utensil, either a pencil or a pen or whatever, it doesn't matter, to outline this. All right, so then what I do before I actually cut is I try to take my little handy dandy ruler and I try to line everything up because these are going to be your score lines. So I kind of look at where this is, and as I can see, that's not really lining up too well. So I just have to see if this is off a little bit or if it was not. It seems to be okay. So I'm going to go with this one. And I'm going to line that up and hope it, I think it's straight. It looks straight. Let's see, how straight is that? Yeah, that's all right. So I just kind of do dotted lines because that's where I want my score lines to be. So I have enough sense not to cut, because you would think I'd have enough sense not to cut, but sometimes I surprise myself. So again, I'm just going to line this up, hope it's straight, and then just do my dotted for scored. And again, I'm just going to try to line that up with this. And then boop. All right, so I think all of my square lines are done. So now all I have to do is cut it. Okay, so that's nice little scrap paper for some other crafty project that you might have in mind. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually not cut this until I fold this pocket over to make sure that lines up okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my crappy little ruler again, and I have a little scoring, little bone folder that I have from my scoring board, which is upstairs, which I'm just unfortunately too lazy to go pick up. And I'm just going to line that up, and I'm going to line it up with the cut edge, not necessarily the score line, because I need to fold at the cut. So I'm going to just give myself a little bit of width because this is, you know, this is thick. And I'm going to make sure that's as straight as I can. So you can always trim some stuff up and you know, neaten it up a little bit. And, you know, unfortunately the design of the paper starts to, like, it's starting to crease and stuff. And then what I do is I just kind of ignore that score line because I'm actually just going to take this and I'm just going to fold it over. I'm going to push down in the center, make sure everything's lined up properly. I'm going to pinch it. And then I'm just going to take my hand and just very, very lightly just kind of press. And you can kind of do that. But again, you want to be careful because once you start to crease it too much, you're going to start creasing that paper. So you don't want to go too crazy because you can see it's starting to crease the paper. So now you basically have your finished folder. So the next thing you want to do is you want to take your any insert paper that you might have and measure it out for this distance because you want to, if you want to put that in. So this is probably about 6. Let's see. It's like a 6 1/4. No, sorry, 6 3/4. So now what you'll want to do is you can get the thinner paper. So if there's a thinner paper that you like, these are a bunch of scraps that I have. I don't think they're high enough though. Let's see. Well, actually, it would be high enough because it doesn't matter because it's gonna be covered up. So this is scraps that I have from that paper pad from the Paris pack. So those little girls are cute. Oh, heart flamingos, those are cute. Ashes. Oh, that's kind of cute. Ah, my fave, the scooters. Oh, I kind of like these girls. Those are cute. All right, so just pick your paper. And again, this is much thinner. I think this is probably going to be more agreeable to being folded. Unfortunately, you want to be mindful of the fact that this paper does tear a little bit easier. So basically, I mean, I'm not an expert on any of this stuff by any stretch of the imagination. So I just take my glue stick, which is the Craft Bond, the extra strength Elmer's, because it's amazing. And all I do is just put it on. Because this is where that stuff is going to go for the inside pocket. And so I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom, obvi, because the paper doesn't go all the way to the bottom. And I'm going to start at the top so that we can get all of the almost all of the girls in. And then just going to line it up corner to corner. And this glue stick's pretty intense, let me tell you. So once this thing sticks down, it's not really going anywhere. I mean, this glue stick's awesome. It's like one of my favorites, and it really works really well. And it doesn't take very long for it to set. So then I have a brayer that I've had forever, and I just kind of roll back and forth Just kind of get all the bubbles out, make sure everything's getting contact. So now that I have that the way I want it, I will put my craft bond on this. And you don't want to go crazy, because if you put too much on there and it smears, it like overflows out to the edges, you're not going to be able to put anything into it. And so again, I just take it, I put my hand down, and then I take my brayer and I just kind of go back and forth for a little bit. I'm sorry about this camera shake. And then I take the other side, I do the same thing. As you can see, I made a little mistake right here because I didn't cover that up, but I'm not worried about it because I'm gonna have so much extra crap to cut off on this side. Won't make much of a difference. I can always just add that in. And again, I just kind of push it over a little bit. And so then all you have to do is just kind of go over there. And obviously you got to clean up your edges and stuff, so. And I think having a really nice pair of scissors really makes a difference. That's huge. Sorry about my dogs. They see a squirrel and they're pretty much convinced that they are here to kidnap myself or the cat, or they're here to take over the house. Because that's what squirrels are supposed to do, right? Thankfully, my dog protects me from squirrels. So there is your book. So there's your basic folder. So now what I'm going to do is, because I have this extra piece here, I'm going to get a little gruesome. Now clearly, if you want to make your life easier, you will not do this, because I'm just dumb. Because I didn't think that it was gonna, it wasn't gonna fit. So what I can do is I can just trim that down a little bit more so I don't cover up her skirt as much. And totally ghetto, but for the win. There you go. So there's your basic, that's your basic setup. And so the next thing that I did was I took my corner chomper thingy here. This thing's pretty fancy. And I think I went at 1/4 of an inch, and I just did all four corners on the entire thing. And the only reason why was because, I don't know, I just kind of like the way it looks. And the other thing that I find is that it actually works better in a traveler's notebook, at least from what I can see, if this is actually in a little bit, because it takes that, I don't know, for some reason it just sits better. So I fold it over and I do the folded corners too. So now I have that little divot. So there's that. Unfortunately, it went right into her side of her face, but that's okay, because she don't care. So then what I do is I just take these pockets that I have. So there's two different styles. This one, you can go like this, and then if you just cut it and reverse it, you know, obviously on the piece of paper that you cut out. So you can have those two pockets, or you can do something like this. If you really want to get creative, you can do a pocket and and do a mountain and a valley, like a hill and a valley fold, and then just like have it so that it's like actually like an accordion, so you can actually really fit stuff in there. But I'm just gonna use this, and then I'm just gonna use some of the paper that I have. Yeah, I think I'll just use these. That's kind of cute. So where this is a little bit different because of the way this is set up, I would probably be more inclined to use probably like the middle, but where my edges are nice and straight. I hate, if I have straight edges, I don't like messing with stuff, you know, like I just want like decent decent edges. So I'm gonna just do that, line it up here. And again, you can do this with any folder. If you find something that you really like, then, you know, take it apart and use it. Or if you see something that somebody has in their traveler's notebook or whatever, and, you know, just take some pieces of paper and just work it and figure it out. It's really not that hard. I think the hardest part is measurement, is like the actual measurement. So that's why, I mean, I've made other pockets for me, for my other stuff before, and I never used like a pattern, or I didn't use any sort of like a pattern. I just kind of cut pieces of paper to a certain size. Like if I knew I wanted it to be, you know, 4 by 6, then I just cut it to I cut it to like 5 by 7, and then cut it down until it fit. And then, you know, keeping in mind that I had certain folders that I had to keep, and, you know, you need to have folded edges and stuff if you don't want stuff to fall out. So there is my shape. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a look at this and go, okay, score lines. And, you know, again, it probably would have been in my best interest to do it before I cut it, but I'm just not going to worry about it. And I like to fold it a little bit this way first and then fold it this way so I can actually see where I'm folding it. And just take that. And then the same thing, gotta fold this end. So I'm just gonna take that folded piece, line it up with this corner, and just score it. And then look at the lighting, try to figure it out. Nope, not all the way. It's really hard to see when it's far away from you. So what you do is just take that and you just fold it. And that's basically a pocket. So, and I don't corner around it. I don't need to. I'm okay with it like that. So then again, what I do is I take my glue stick, and just on the folded edge, make sure you don't get any on the actual pocket itself, or you're not gonna be able to get anything in. It's gonna seal itself. And then I just eyeball it. Like I don't do like any crazy like, I'm like, I don't look at it and measure it. I just friggin' do it. I just get it done. And I just take my brayer and just kind of roll it. It's kind of nice to do it all over because that really kind of helps solidify everything. So there's my pocket. And I mean, obviously this needs to dry. I mean, you can't just like start shoving stuff into it right away. But, you know, if you wanted to do a second pocket, you could. So what you would do is you would take your paper and think about how you want it to go. So this time we're going to have, you know, we're going to want it to go like this. So I take it and I have the gold showing this time, and I'm going to line it up top and bottom. And there goes my dog. One of them. He's a little crusty old man. He's angry. He's just a very bitter dog. He's got something against squirrels. Doesn't like them. Thinks they're the devil. So now that's my other pocket. So what's going to end up happening is it's going to look like this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the same thing. Take my ruler, line it corner to corner, take my thingy, Square that sumbitch. I just fold it one way, then I fold it the other to make sure I like the way it looks. And then when I'm happy, when I'm sure it's good, that's when I'll like really go to town on it. Did I forget a notch? I feel like I forgot a notch. I did. Silly. So silly. I'm like, that doesn't look right. There. So then what I'll do is I'll take I'll keep that folded over and make it easy on me. Go tip to tip. And then I'll take my Be helpful if you could see it. And then I will just take it and I'll fold it over. And if I'm happy with it, I'll make sure it's really folded well. And then I will fold it down, but I think I could go just a skosh more. So I'm going to, because that's what I like to do. And so now I have a pocket on this side, and that's basically all there is to it. Pretty simple. And again, you can glue this edge down if you want. No, you know, there's no reason why you couldn't. I didn't for some, I don't know. I just don't. But that doesn't mean you can't. So, yeah, hold on. Almost done. I like working with paper because you can really just do whatever you want with it. Once you have a printed pattern of paper down, or non-printed, doesn't even matter, solid color, you could, I mean, it would be fun to just make like a rainbow, just like take rainbow, rainbow colors and just make a rainbow. The only thing I try to do is I try to line these up, but who am I kidding? I'm not that precise. So, you know, I might do something like that. And I just, again, use my brayer because it's my fave. And then if I miss a spot, like I think I have a little corner here that I can get. So I'll just kind of take it and just bend this back a little bit and just kind of glue the heck out of it. I'm not gonna lie, this is a lot easier when I can actually look at it. From where I'm sitting, it's kind of hard to see. It's because I'm so far away from it. But yeah, so this is the one that I made for my Pockets Travel notebook, and this is the new one that I've just made. And the nice thing is that, you know, look at this, is still isn't really lined up properly. So I could probably take that. But you know, again, the more you score this heavier cardstock, the more you're apt to have this kind of a problem where you're going to start to see the edges. And let's see. I have a habit of doing this too. Like if I see something sticking out, it's like, you shouldn't cut your hair that way. Like if you do a braid and you see all these little ends sticking out, you shouldn't cut it. Well, I do that. So anyways, this is my new pocket. Obviously this does not go with the theme that I have now, but it's just nice to know that within like 10 or 15 minutes and some scrap paper, you can have yourself a cute little pocket. So that's it. Boom, done. Anyways, hope that helps. I hope that answers some questions for you, and I will talk to you later. So anyways, thanks for watching. Like it, don't like it, subscribe, don't subscribe, your choice. Thanks for spending some time with me, and I'll talk to you later. Deuces, bye.